So state machine, it's one of those things that sounds really, really complicated. And it's like, oh, I need to go get a CS degree or something in order to really understand it. But as scary as it sounds, it's actually pretty simple. A state machine is like, you could describe something, like even a human, let's use me as an example, as being in one of a finite number of states. And I can't be in more than one of these finite states at a time. And so an example of a finite state would be sleeping or awake. I'm either sleeping or awake. I can't be both sleeping and awake. Otherwise, I have to go see a doctor and deal with that whole thing. Don't want to do that. So I could only be in one of those states. And I could also transition between sleeping and awake. So if my alarm goes off, hopefully I go from the sleeping to the awake state. And so what finite states really are behaviors. And by behaviors, I mean how you or how some entity reacts to events. So I'm going to react differently to events when I'm sleeping versus when I'm awake. And so finite state machines are just a collection of those behaviors or finite states and events that come in. So a more practical example, I mean, this is JS Party after all. So like, let's talk promises and fetching data. Like you're either loading data or the data loaded, or there's an error, but you're not going to have more than one of those happen at the same time. You can't get both error and success, or you can't get both loading and error. And the problem today is that there's lots of applications where they do that. Like I'm sure you've run into an application where it's like, I know my internet's fast, but this loading spinner has been going on for like 2 minutes now. I'm pretty sure there's an error, but it's just not going to tell me. It's going to show the loading spinner indefinitely. Yeah. So problems like that are solved by state machines where that's impossible. You can't be both in an error state and a loading state. You have to be in one of those.